Welcome to Talkin Tobacco. I am your host, Bill, and my co-host today, Jay Blanchard's here. What's up, Jay?
Nothing much, man. How are you? How was the Christmas break? How was the Christmas holiday?
Hectic, and taking down Christmas decorations today. We're never like super fast with getting decorations back down because it's horrible, you know? So it just takes us time, but we're getting there slowly. We'll chip away, and probably by mid-January, all the remnants of Christmas will be gone. How about yourself?
I still have all of the decorations up. I got both of my sons are home. They're both in the Navy, and they're both home at the same time, which is like coordinating a space shuttle launch. So having them both here, I just haven't really wanted to take time away to start tearing stuff down. So everything's still up like it's Christmas Eve. So it's kind of silly.
No, it's good. You got the boys home. Why not?
Yeah,
just leave them up.
It's been
you know
great.
What I mean?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. That's the weird thing is you don't really ever get, they don't talk about dads, how they react to the kids growing up and leaving the house. It's always they're poor moms. What do the moms do? But it actually hit me a little bit harder, I think, than it hit Megan. And so having them all home, it's kind of a, it's a good day usually, when they
awesome.
come bebopping back in. So
fantastic. That's what the holidays are all about.
Absolutely.
So today I'm going to, I don't think I even told you this. I'm going to do like a mini review of one of the tobaccos I've gotten recently. Actually, probably towards the end of October. Have you ever heard of LJ Peretti?
I know, get me up to speed on it.
All right, cool. So I'm going to give a review of LJ Peretti's number 8 slices. It's a Virginia Perique with a little bit of Burley. But before I get into that, I just was curious. Have you gotten any new tobaccos lately? What have you been smoking?
So the last new tobacco I got in was at Cornell and Dale opening night. Because remember, I told you that I was doing a Christmas Carol again this year. So I thought opening night I was going to smoke this Cornell and Dale opening night at the backstage door before I went in, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had it really kind of mellowed me out. I think it helped the performance. I think I was so easy to smoke, I would have smoked it on stage if the director would have let me walk in with my pipe lit. I don't know if Ebenezer Scrooge smoked a pipe or not. Seems like something he would do.
Wait, is that where you were? You were Scrooge?
Yeah, I was Ebenezer Scrooge in the Christmas Carol.
My God. Wait, what is opening night? Is that a pure Virginia? Is that a straight Virginia?
So it's going by what it says, it's a blend of red and bright Virginias. No, it was tasty. It comes the way it comes.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a straight Virginia blend. What did you think? Because I thought you're more of an aromatic smoker. So
well, I like the aromatics, but you've kind of inspired me to start. I've been listening to the show, and you've kind of inspired me to step out of just the, you can't go wrong with. I'm more of a pipe maker, not more of a tobacco guy, as people who've listened to the show or listened to me on the show say before. I'll say it again. But with your show, I've developed more of an interest in trying other things, and I got to tell you, the room note and the satisfaction of smoking this, the 1Q, those type of tobaccos, they're going to smell great in a room full of people. They're going to compliment you on it. I did get some complaints from the coworkers that I smelled like smoke when I came in, but for the most part, as far as the actual enjoyment and the taste of the tobacco, I thought it tasted wonderful, and it was the perfect night for opening night for me.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was, and it becomes. Cool. I get actors and baseball players are notoriously superstitious. So whatever you do when you open a play, if it's a good performance, then you end up having to do that the whole time. And so I don't want to add too much of a litany to what I got to go through. So taking a couple of puffs on the pipe, going inside, fixing myself a cup of Earl Grey tea, and that was the start of every show for the run of the show. So
That sounds good. That sounds good to me, man.
yeah.
I'll tell you, if you like opening night and your palate's starting to expand, where you're able to really start enjoying like non-aromatics, like getting away. I think there's so many pipe smokers that started at Captain Black, started, Prince Albert. Not that Prince Albert's that much of an aromatic. I don't even think it is. It's just Burley, but it's got toppings in it. But once your palate starts expanding, you're really going to start craving more pure tobacco flavors, in my opinion. It happens to so many pipe smokers. It's almost like, I think I talked about this in the last show, and it's almost like, picture like anything I always equate it to like alcohol or like coffee.
Right.
So when you first start drinking coffee, you load it up with cream and sugar. And then as you get older and you start drinking more coffee, you start realizing, man, it's kind of sweet. Maybe I'll stop putting the sugar in. And then you just put the cream in. And then after a while, you're like, do I need the cream? And then you're just going like a straight black cup of coffee, And the same thing with like alcohol. Like when we first started drinking, everybody was drinking. When you're a kid, you don't know what the hell you're drinking, right? You're either drinking really bad beer or really bad cocktails, fruity, all these fruity cocktails. And eventually you start wising up and your palate starts maturing and you start dropping off of all of the other mixers and sweet stuff. And you get down to the pure form of, whatever you're dabbling in.
What was that first fruity alcohol drink that you got so sick on that you can't touch or you couldn't touch?
I remember being at like a family party at probably, 14, 15, and you're sneaking in, your uncle's cabinet because he had all the booze out for the party, and you wind up grabbing like a peach schnapps or something and just pouring it in orange juice or whatever the hell. Just what you didn't care really what it was, as long as it didn't taste like alcohol, because you would have died. You're just trying to like pretend like you're an adult.
The first half of what made me sick. So when I turned 18, I lived in Southeast Texas, and we'd make a run to Louisiana because you could still drink at 18 in Louisiana at the time. It was a long time ago, obviously. So we ran to Louisiana, and I hadn't developed a taste for beer. I obviously couldn't drink scotch or any whiskey. Good Lord, no. So I decided I was going to drink orange juice and vodka. And I got so sick.
Sure.
I got so sick on those two on that drink that I couldn't drink orange juice or vodka for all 4 years of college. I couldn't drink it. The smell, the taste of orange juice made me sick to my stomach every single time, which sucked because orange juice. That's how a lot of people start their day, is drinking a glass of orange juice. So,
wow,
couldn't do it.
I never heard of that one.
4 years. 4 years I couldn't drink orange juice.
You know what, though? That's not a bad combo. I mean, vodka and orange juice, that's a lot of, brunch. That's a regular brunch cocktail.
Yeah.
I'm talking like that's normal. Like I'm talking about crap I was trying to grab, like any kind of schnapps is like an old lady beverage that, that you're trying to, it's just horrible.
I'll tell you what, I'm not a, who's a big schnapps drinker. He's famous. I know who he is. You may not know that he likes to drink schnapps, but I've listened to several interviews. Arnold Schwarzenegger, whenever he's talking, he loves schnapps.
I refuse to believe it.
You would think that it would be like single malt whiskey or cognac.
Yes,
but I'm telling you, he drinks schnapps. He likes schnapps quite a bit. He talks about it in several interviews.
Please don't ruin my childhood heroes. Please, I cannot picture Arnold drinking. The Terminator does not drink schnapps. I refuse to accept that. Well, I might even delete it from the podcast.
Yeah,
so have you made any tobacco purchases the last couple months besides the opening night?
No, I've got a nice little collection going. and I haven't added anything that was really new. I did crack into some stuff that I already had. Like I smoked some straight Kentucky. It was just this pressed gold. Comes in this gold leaf, pure Kentucky tobacco, and man, I smoked it, and I got a huge rush off of it, a little bit of a buzz, and it's
Where did
delicious.
you get it? What's the name of it?
Hang on a second, let me get it real quick. Hang on.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, it's H&H Bold Kentucky.
Ah, yeah. That's yeah. Okay, McBaron. That's McBaron.
Yeah, and it smells delicious, and it was great. But the nicotine content was just through the roof on this bad boy.
Well,
so,
yeah, Darfire Kentucky, yeah. Old Kentucky, and HH. They also make one called Old Dark Fired.
Yeah.
And I have the Old Dark Fired, and it's strong. It's strong,
Yeah.
and that Bold Kentucky, yeah, that's up there. But they also make McBaron has their HH line is their premium line, and they make a few different tobaccos under the HH label. And one of them, you might want to write this down, is HH Pure Virginia. If you like opening night, that Pure Virginia is so good. You know what that reminds me of, especially you're a tea guy? That is probably, to me so far, the blend that tastes like tea the most is that HH Pure Virginia.
The overall flavor of all of these tobaccos, they're improving with time for me.
Oh, of course, sure.
Like if I have some and I put it in it, I use jelly jars to store it in, and I'll just leave it there, and then I'll come back to it, and it tastes better. For me, almost all the tobaccos, they seem to get better. There's something to be said for cellaring. I still don't know what I'm doing really yet. I may be storing it improperly, but I was listening to one of your episodes, and I think it said something about rehydrating, some old tobacco with like an apple slice, just sticking it in there, and then draws the moisture out of it. I haven't tried that yet. I haven't needed to, but the ones that I let mellow in those jars, when I go back to them, they're always better. They always taste better to me for some reason.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the bowl jars are great. A lot of guys, there's plenty of guys out there that will just cellar their tins. When their tins come in, they'll just put they'll put a date on it and put it away. But there's a lot of guys that will open their tins, put them in bowl jars, and then put them away because there's a little bit more air. So that little bit of air and it being in a jar, a lot of guys think it ages even faster in a jar.
Yeah.
So
I would. It seems like it would make more sense that it has to, because the vacuum sealing is designed to preserve
sealing.
it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so to be able to open it up and it's kind of like letting it breathe, for lack of a better word. It seems to improve the flavor, because like I've opened stuff right out of the tin, and I'll because you get new tins of tobacco, you're so dang excited. The first thing you want to do is crack one open and start getting into it, and then but the flavor of it, I may not like it, and then I'll set it aside, and then I'll come back to it 6 months later, and I'll try it. It's like, why did I not smoke all of this when it first came in? Why is it so good now? And so there's something to be said for aging. I still don't know what I'm doing as far as that goes, but
there's nothing to know. You just wait.
Yeah.
I mean, there's temperature things. There's guys that really are putting their jars or their tins in like airtight chests, climate controlled rooms, or at least in a room where the temperature is not fluctuating so much. I mean, I'm not going to age anything for 20 years, I don't think. I have a 20-year-old. I have that Sutliff Kringle Flake from 2022 as a 20-year-old Virginia. And to be honest, I don't love it. I don't know if it's the aging or not, but it kind of takes all the edges off. And I like some edge. I think my sweet spot right now, and I'm still learning. I think my sweet spot right now might be like 3 to 5 year old Virginia for me, because I like that edge. I like the the changing and the sharpness sometimes of the bowl. And if it's totally rounded out, it kind of almost is like a one note. Now, there's plenty of guys out there that tin Escudo every year. They'll buy a bunch of Escudo and just throw it away, but put it away.
Yeah.
And they'll probably think I'm crazy, and they're probably like, this guy don't know. He hasn't smoked a 10-year-old Escudo, and they're right. I haven't. And maybe that's phenomenal. I don't know. But I think for me right now, like 3 to 5 is like my Goldilocks time frame.
See, one thing you and I are doing too is we buy we're not trying to monetize our sellers. Like I know a few guys that buy stuff that's in demand. They'll check tobacco, tobacco magazine. They'll check and they'll see what is in demand and what can you not get. And if you hear something that, hey, I can't get this on one of the message boards, and this guy finds it, it's almost like they're keeping it, and they'll seller it and then they'll wait, and then they'll resell it on eBay and stuff like that. It just, for me, I don't know enough. I guess any aficionado can do that. You can do it probably with cigars. I know you can do it with wine, but for me, it's just, I'm still buying these things with the soul. I just want individually to enjoy it. I'm not thinking about monetizing it, but I know that there's a market out there, and I know guys that are doing that. I know pipe makers that are doing it.
Yeah, so there are, for sure.
Just, I think it's not my bag. I don't know, I don't know that I would really want to put that much thought into it, but I do, I would
it's not
like to hook up with one of those guys and say, okay, walk me through this. What is, and then say, okay, this is one that's aged a year. This is one that's been aged 2 years. This is the reason why this is expensive right now, and kind of explain to me how that's working. So,
well, there's a website called Tin Bids, where you can go on and bid on tobacco, and they have a lot of older tobacco. I think
that's where this guy's reselling it at, actually.
Yeah. And I think Four Noggins does a consignment. I mean, I think a lot of the guys, what they do is, I don't think they put that much thought into it. And you're not going to sell anything for aged a year that's going to be much different than today's price. You know what I mean? It's really not. The stuff that's expensive is like McClellan, anything McClellan, because they're not on the market anymore, or probably like and like Esoterica, because you can't get it. There's like one drop a year. You never know when it is. Yeah. And then or if there's tins of Escudo, they got to be 10 years old for anybody to spend anything significant on it. And I just wouldn't chase that, Jay. I mean, especially for you, not that you're saying you are, but your palate's just kind of growing right now. There'd be such a waste of money to buy anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It'd be like me buying a $1,000 bottle of wine. What the hell do I know about wine that's going to justify?
Me too. I bought an $80. I bought an $80 bottle of wine one time for someone for a gift, and when they opened it, they let me take a sip, and I was like, I'm good with my $12 bottles. So I don't need. I have no idea what I'm doing, but no, I think you're doing it the right way. Like that's the way to do it. It's like you get a tin in, crack it, and then sample it. And then I put it in a bowl jar, and I put a little masking tape on it, and I write the date I got it. I go back to it 3 months later, 6 months later, or if I like it, I just smoke it right there. But a lot of guys will do it like this. They'll buy 2 tins of something. No matter what they buy, they buy 2. Yeah. They'll just put one away, and they'll never open it. But the way you're doing it, it's fine. You put it in a jar, try it, put it away. Yeah. You know how many jars I went through this year that I bought in 2019 and 2020? That was like not long ago, but it flies. And these are jars that I wasn't even trying to cellar. It's just that I kept buying more tobacco, and they got pushed to the back of the back of my container in the basement. And I started going through it again. I was like, oh yeah, let me pull this out. I was smoking 3-year-old Virginias, and they were great. Matter of fact, that luxury bullseye flake was great after 3 years. That Peter Stokeby luxury bullseye, I love that. Matter of fact, I was trying to buy some recently. You can't find it anywhere. Every website, they're out right now. So I think everybody else knows too, and it's cheap. It's so inexpensive. It's like half of what a tin would be. You know, you get it at 2 ounce or 4 ounce. I'd probably get it in 8 ounce going forward, and then probably smoke some and put some away. But that tobacco is so good. Matter of fact, I like it so much. I went on this spree of buying Virginia Perique with Cavendish because of Bullseye Flake. I said, let me see what other companies make this concoction. You know what I mean? So I liked it so much, and they're all pretty good. So, matter of fact, that'll lead us into what I purchased lately, since I just talked about it. So I said that I got some LJ Peretti, which the number 8 slices I'm going to talk about today. Cornell and Deal's Cajun cake. So it's a nice little cake, and that's Virginia Perique Cavendish, black Cavendish. It's delicious.
I love black Cavendish.
I got a Davidoff. The Davidoff Flake medallions is it's the same idea as the Peter Stokkebye Luxury Bullseye Flake. It's in a coin, and it's the same thing with the Cavendish in the middle. But everybody says this is better than Stokkebye, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I love Davidoff cigars. I never had their pipe tobacco, and they always make premium cigars, so we'll see. But it's a new tin, and some of the videos I was watching on this the flake medallions, like these guys had it aged for like 5 years, which is going to be vastly different from when I smoke it. It might only be 6 months, but I'm sure it's going to be good. I got some GLP Stratford, which is a Virginia Perique, and it's a ribbon cut, and it's more on the high and bright side. It's more bright Virginia, and I had it last year or the year before I bought it, and I didn't think much of it at the time, and then I just kept slowly going back to it, smoking it over the summer because it would just fit for a summer blend like that. My Orlick Golden Sliced, and when I finished it, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, I was like, nah, whatever, smoking all this other tobacco, and then all of a sudden I was like, man, I got to get some Stratford back in here. So it's weird how the tobacco like calls you sometimes. It's like, hello, you forgot about me. Remember those flavors? And you're like, oh, shit, I got to jump on smoking pipes and put that in my basket.
Yeah, that is strange how seasonal it is because, you know, during the winters, I just love any of the English tobaccos that I have. I just crush those during the winter months. I don't know why they're better in the wintertime, but they just are. And then this is a tricky time of year for me in Texas because it gets cold here, and then it warms up for a couple of days, and it gets cold again. And in central Texas, we got cedar trees everywhere. So the cedar trees just start doing their thing and pumping all this pollen out. So if I go outside if I'm outside for any more than like 10, 15 minutes, the cedar is getting in my face. And to go outside and try to smoke a pipe, it just makes it miserable. So this is the time of year where I just can't enjoy outdoor pipe smoking. That means I got to do it all inside. And it's really so much more enjoyable to smoke indoors. You know, it just is.
You ain't lying.
I don't, you know, I know it's become passé. Nobody does it anymore. Everybody goes outside to smoke.
Do it.
I get it. But being able to smoke inside is just, it's decadent almost. It's such a treat, you know. I
know. No, I mean, since I moved, it's been a year and a half. And I have this back room now. I don't even smoke outside. I don't.
Yeah.
I can't get the flavors. And it sounds crazy. I just don't enjoy the flavors. It's something with just a little bit of breeze, and that's probably why, like, I would have to smoke like my English tobaccos outside because I need more full flavors to even be outside. So in this back room, I can just open up all these windows, and I won't smoke. Plus, I've been lighting my pipes with matches. So, because I'm so tired of spending money on lighters, and they're just shit. I can't find a good one. I'm not going to buy like a Dunhill, like Roller Gas or whatever the hell the name of it is, like for $1,000. But every lighter I get sucks. So I just been using matches for the last 2 years, and I'll sit inside. I'm sitting in my back room, open up windows, fire up my pipe, and
you know,
I know I'm spoiled that way.
Whenever I think about it, I just, you know, I think back to those. You and I are both movie buffs, and I think back to those those English movies where you just have these drawing rooms and clubs, and after dinner the gentlemen retire to the billiard room or some back room, and they just enjoy their cigars and brandy and stuff like that. So when I'm smoking, it just feels like it just feels like I'm hearkening back to this time, where everybody did it. Everybody was smoking. So
fantastic.
It's enjoyable.
So lastly, because I was looking for Virginia, Perique, and Cavendish, I'm like trying all these different companies, whoever puts it out. I was like, let me try this. I was really looking for like a ribbon. And the only ribbon I know of, Sutliff makes one. I think it's called 1879. I just didn't order it yet, or 1872. I can't remember. It's something like that. But I went ahead and I said, I remember us talking about this, and we were talking about home blending, and I was like, nah, forget it. I'm not doing it. Well, guess what I did? I bought the components to blend a Virginia, Perique, and Cavendish blend that I can have at the house. So I got that too, and it's all in ribbon. So I bought this like 2 ounces of this like sweet Virginia. It's I guess it's called a Virginia long cut. But it's kind of an aged bright, and it's a little bit rounded, so it doesn't have the sharpness of bright, but it doesn't totally have the deepness of a red. It's kind of in between, and it's like perfect because instead of me buying for the first time, buying a bunch of bright and a bunch of red and trying to mix them, this one's kind of like in the middle. So I bought that. I bought 2 ounces of Louisiana Perique, and I bought Black Cavendish, unflavored Black Cavendish. And I don't have a scale, so I was like using like measuring cups, and I was making small baggies, I guess. You see that?
Excellent. Yep, I'm seeing
so, it. Yeah, so like I'm keeping track of like how much, it's something like, 75% of the Virginia and maybe 10%, maybe 80% Virginia, 10% Perique, maybe 15% Perique, and then like 5% Cavendish, something like that. I'm sure that's all off, but it's something like that. And what I'm doing is I'm having a couple bowls, and then I'll go back and I'll pinch a little bit more Perique in, have a couple bowls. Maybe I'll get a little Cavendish. So I'm trying to figure out, and guess what? It's not bad. It's not bullseye flake, you know what I mean? But it's really not bad.
Here's the thing that and I know you know this, you may not remember this, but when my wife and I went to dinner with you and your bride, when we were in Philadelphia, back when you were living there, we went to this restaurant and we had orange cello as opposed to limoncello, and it was house made in that restaurant, and they house made all of their limoncello. And we had been house making our limoncello since my mother-in-law came back from Italy with a recipe. And so we make this house-made limoncello. So when people come to my house, and if I'm serving anything that even resembles Italian food, somebody that's been in my house before and had it, they'll ask, "Hey man, you got any of that limoncello?" And I put up some every year, and I make these little bottles of it. And when I run out, I'll put up some more. And so where I'm going with this is you may have stumbled across the Bill Ball home collection of tobacco, which is just going to be a blended tobacco that you can only get at Bill Ball's residence. It may be something special.
I'm pretty sure it's not something special. And I'm pretty sure no one's going to want to smoke my house blend. But it's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's just like home brewing your own beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, I'm trying it out. Man, it's fun.
I suffered through when I lived in Austin, I suffered through some really terrible homebrew. Just bad stuff. But with the rise of YouTube videos and the expertise that you can get by just watching people who do whatever you're into, I can't remember the last time I went and had a bottle of homebrew that wasn't good, that wasn't delicious.
No,
I mean, we've all gotten better at our little hobbies whatever we're doing. So stick with it. Next time I'm in New York, I'll take the train out to Jersey, and I look forward to having a pipe full of your home blend tobacco.
It's fun. It's fun, but with tobacco, there's just so much amazing tobacco that's not expensive and it's at your fingertips. Yeah. It's kind of hard to be like, I'm going to smoke my home stuff.
Yeah. It's plus, I'm trying to make your own cheese.
Well, plus I'm kind of prejudiced against myself. Like I'm like, why am I smoking it? I got GLP's blends in here. I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah. Why am I, but again, it's just for fun. But what I also have done with it though is you don't have to start from scratch. So like, in other words, there's some blends that I have, some Burley blends that I don't love. So I could just grab, even doing it bowl by bowl, I could just pinch off some straight Virginia and then just grab a little pinch of that Burley that's just too overbearing, mix those together, stick that in your pipe and smoke it, as they say. And it's almost like I won't waste that blend it's too strong for me. I can like slowly mix it in, you know what I mean? And like enjoy it that way, more subtle. So there's a lot of different things you could do with it. So,
hey man, I encourage, here's another thing too. I hate wasting anything. I don't know if it's something, it seems like
I'm a cheap ass. I'm the same way.
It seems like it's a progressive disease. I seem to be getting worse and worse about it as I get older.
It's great. I don't like to waste anything either.
But I don't like to waste anything. And so the thought that you could create, like I think I may have mentioned this last time, the fort de fromage, the strong cheese. Whenever you have the little pieces of cheese left over on a cheese board, I take it, I blend it with white wine, a little bit of garlic sometimes, and I'll make a spread out of it, and I'll serve it on toast. And it never fails. I'll have a party, I'll have people over, I'll set out this bowl of fort de fromage that I set out, and they'll take it and they'll put it on a crack and they're like, where'd you get this? And then I have to go through the whole boring story of explaining that I am a cheap ass and I don't throw anything away. And sometimes they get turned off, and then sometimes usually the guy will be like, that's great. And then the wife will be like, I'm not touching that, So
the story's part of it. That's part of the fun. And then to see someone's reaction to it. And then to them to know that they'll never get this, they can't ever get this cheese. It's one of one. You enjoyed it. It's over. It's over.
And it'll never. And you'll never get the same thing again. I've done the same thing. Believe it or not, I drink a lot of espresso. I got 2 Nespresso machines. I drink Turkish coffee. Any kind of coffee product, I love it. But every once in a while, I just like a percolated cup of coffee, because I grew up drinking percolated coffee with my grandparents.
Old school.
The old school Faberware percolator that every grandparent
It's almost
had.
like you could taste the tin. It's almost like you could taste the tin from that percolator.
Right.
My mother has one. I go over her stove, the thing's like, it's going to explode. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, the one with the little glass lid and you can see it popping up in it. Yeah. So whenever it never fails, for every Christmas, my wife's a teacher, so she'll get 50 little boxes of coffee, and it's a storage issue. I hate seeing them all over the counter. So one day I had an old coffee can, and I just cracked the top of it. I just poured them all in there, every one of them. I don't care what they were. All the different coffees went into this one tin, and now when I want to make percolated coffee, I'll pop 4 scoops of that into the percolator, and it goes, and whatever comes out. And I got to tell you, I am on a batch right now that anytime I serve it, somebody says, dude, this is amazing. Where did you get this coffee? And I have to tell them, it's like the cheese. It's the whole friggin' story. So to be able to do this with tobacco, dude, I'm totally geeking out on it. I hope it works.
See, what's funny is, like, for me, I'm a little OCD as well. So like that would drive me crazy not to know what's in that blend, your coffee blend. So even though it's I would, just in case it's amazing, I need to know how to make it again. But I like that you don't, because that's almost part of the fun. It's almost like it's a gamble. We'll see how it goes. That's why
See how it goes.
I'm measuring out my blend, because I'm like, well, if this comes out amazing, I got to be able to figure this out.
Duplicate
You
it.
know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, here's your hell then with your OCD. You make the most amazing blended tobacco ever, and you don't know how you did it, and you can never recreate it. You'll go insane trying to figure it out. Yeah.
I know.
There's a movie that something like that happens. Like it's a plot that's it's called A Medicine Man. It's got Sean Connery in it, and he finds,
I know that movie. Yeah.
he finds the cure. He stumbles across this cure for cancer, and he cures this little girl of cancer in this little tribe, and he's living in this rainforest somewhere, and he brings in somebody to help him recreate it, and he can't. I always just remember when he's like, he goes, I found the cure and I've lost it, and he's like, and she's like, what do you mean you lost it? Well, I lost it. Like, have you ever lost something before, Bronx? Have you ever lost your car keys? It's like that. I found the cure for the bloody plague of the 21st century, and now I've lost it. And I just see you going nuts with your. I just see you going nuts with your tobacco.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I take notes. Before I get into the LJ Peretti, there was one quick story I wanted to tell you, and it has to do with palates. And you were talking about how your palate now is, shifting, and you're getting into more pure tobaccos and starting to dabble away from aromatics. When I first started smoking, what got me, pipe tobacco, what got me like hooked on it was the English blends, and it was like English with a lot of Turkish Oriental. That like Balkan, those Turkish tobaccos really just, with the Latakia, just really hooked me in. And I went on this like couple year bender of trying all these different English blends. And so I'm getting all these heavy Latakia blends, like GLP's Westminster. That was like my number one. And I have to go back and try that again because it's been a while and something happened and I'm slowly getting to. But like GLP's Westminster, Plum Pudding, all those ones that I sent you in that little sampler, all those dark Latakia blends. I was dabbling in Virginia like you're doing now, and Virginia Perique, because I kept watching reviews and everybody kept talking about it. And while I'm loving my English blends, I would occasionally have a bowl of some Virginia, and I hated it. And I was like, there's nothing here, because when you're coming from these full English blends and you go to like a straight Virginia, of course there's not going to be anything. It's just your palate is too focused and too refined, not refined enough, but like too honed in on these heavy blends, these smack you in the face blends. But as I started smoking more and more Virginia, I really started to understand it, and I started to really like it, and I stopped smoking the English blends. And now all summer, and it's probably 6 months before that, it's almost been a year, to the point where I tried to smoke an English blend like a week ago, and I couldn't even, I got like towards the halfway point and I had to stop and put it out. And I went back and I grabbed the Virginia blend and I filled it up, and I was like,
are the English blends, are they just heavy? Are they not tasting good to you anymore? What's the deal? It's almost like I got used to the subtle flavors. It's almost like your palate's getting more refined and you're able to pick out these subtle flavors, and you don't need a sledgehammer on your head anymore. Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost like, again, going back to, let's just say alcohol, you're using all these mixed drinks and it's all these crazy flavors versus like sipping a scotch, just like sipping this, and you're like, okay, that's, these delicate flavors. And I don't know, right? And I think a lot of guys go through this where you get to the point where like you can't do Latakia anymore, or there's a phase. And I'm a little bit nervous that it's going forever. I don't know. I mean, I'm in this like pipe group on Facebook, and a lot of guys were laughing at me going, you'll be back, don't worry. And there's other guys, Virginia guys, going, yeah, it happened to me. I don't know. Like, so I have so much English blends, so many English blends that I'm like, oh, like unopened stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, am I never going back? But I don't know. Right now, my palate is all Virginia Perique. And it's to the point where I'm smoking, where I thought I was going to be smoking Virginias in the summer and like Latakia English in the winter. I can't even go to English. It's too much. I wind up going like bright Virginia in the summer and a darker red Virginia in the winter. Like that's plenty. It's plenty for me right now. So what I'm trying to do is, and as I learn more, is I'm trying not to fight it. Just go with it. Smoke what you like right now and don't worry about it. And if eventually you want to smoke an English blend, like I smoke some Squadron Leader, which is a light English. There's not much, a lot of key in that. And I enjoy that once in a while, but I always fall back to Virginia. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. If I'm a Virginia smoker now, so be it. If one day I go back to English, I don't care. But I don't want to get to the point where I was in the beginning, where I'm always kind of fighting or trying too hard to adapt to something or try something. I just want to smoke what I like. What the hell am I doing? You know what I mean? I don't get paid for this shit. Like smoke what you like. So I'm just trying to ride out my Virginia stuff right now.
I have another friend of mine that hopefully I'll get to introduce you to one day. But he did the same thing, except it happened to him with coffee. He switched to light roasted coffee about 5-6 years ago now. And the French press or the French roasted coffees, he just bashes them. He's actually hostile towards anything that's not a light roasted coffee. And he described a sip of coffee. He says when it's light roasted, you get the floral notes. And I finally he made me a cup of coffee, and I kid you not, it's just that description of the floral notes in a light roasted coffee. It's apt. As soon as you taste it, you know exactly what he's talking about. And he hasn't like corrupted me to where I can't, because I drink all kinds of coffee. I like any kind of coffee related product. But he is a straight light roasted dude now. He doesn't even enjoy my house blend coffee because
let's not judge him on that, Jay. He might know more than you think at this point. I'm just kidding. No, I hear that, and that's fine because but it might just be because he likes floral coffee. So maybe if it's light roast, maybe a light roasted coffee, that's the flavors you get with a lot of light roasted coffee. I don't know. Well, that's interesting. So yeah. I mean, it could be something like that where I'm just like that's where. But my point is, and I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I like the YouTube pipe community a lot, and I'll see guys, and you get to know the guys, and I know the guys that are English smokers. I know the guys that favor a lot of Kia blends. And when I see them reviewing a Virginia, I'm almost like, I know you're not going to love this. This is not for you. This isn't even for you. I know you know what I mean? So it's funny. Or I watch guys that like are trying to get that Virginia. And I'm like, I get it. There's nothing wrong with constantly trying blends. And I hope I never get to the point where I don't want to try blends. But I just don't want to fight it anymore. I'm just going to roll with my Virginia for now and Virginia Perique, and then occasionally smoke an English blend, see if I like it. There's Burley blends I like though too. Like you were talking about the HH line, and my favorite Burley right now is HH Burley Flake. It is so good, and that with a cup of coffee in the afternoon, that's like my favorite afternoon treat. HH Burley Flake. Anything with Latakia right now, I'm kind of like, unless I know for sure it's something where it's a hint of Latakia, a hint. Like, for example, GLP's makes Fillmore, which is a Virginia Perique, and there's a hint. As a matter of fact, it's even hard to detect, but it could, because it's not even in the description or anything, but there's some Latakia in there. And that's how I want it right now. Just so in the background, it's just compliments, where before I needed that the main component.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just where my palate is right now. We'll see where we'll see if it shifts anymore. All right, Jay, LJ Peretti is a tobacconist. I think it's the second oldest tobacconist in the States, from 1870. They're out of Boston. The reason I really didn't know anything about them for the longest time was because you have to go to their website to buy their tobacco. It's not like on Smoking Pipes where I do all my ordering, or on Pipes and Cigars. You have to go to their site and order their tobacco. And I was watching a video of our boy, somebody you like, Chris from Eldritch Pipes.
Oh, yeah.
He uses Eldritch rod in your pipes, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a great product. I don't know the guy all that well, but it's a great
Well,
product.
you should watch his videos. He puts out a new video every Friday, and he does his pipes of the week, the pipes that he made that week, and they're usually commissioned and already sold, but they're awesome to look at. And I like watching him smoke a pipe for some reason. Every blend he smokes looks delicious. I want to smoke what he's smoking.
Yeah.
But he was talking about LJ Peretti, and I was like, how? And I started Googling, and I'm like, how the hell did I miss that? So they make all different types of tobacco, but their number 8 slice is a Virginia Perique with Burley. And the flakes come in, they're thicker flakes. They kind of look like Sutliff's flake tobacco. I have Sutliff's Crumble Cake Virginia Perique. So it's a thicker flake. Crumbles up pretty easily, but it's a thick flake. It's delicious. It's really good. It's more rounded. There's no sharpness to it. I took some notes here. The color is almost like a brown and black marble. That's what it looks like. It looks delicious. It looks like a little brownie. You want to bite it. Soft but medium body. It's a smooth and creamy smoke. There's no sharpness to it. Zero tang like you would have in a bright. More sweet, but not like chemical sweet. But there's no grass, no hay. It's almost one note, but it's delicious. It's just this really soft. It's a really soft blend. Like I was talking about Stratford earlier, and that's more tangy, zesty, and this is more just rounded, creamy. And the description I kind of gave it is almost like if you were drinking a cappuccino. Frothy, creamy flavor you get with like a cappuccino. So I would say definitely check that out if you haven't yet and you love Virginia Perique. A word of warning though, and you'll see some older videos on YouTube talking about this. They talk about this essence, this Peretti essence, and it's got to be a casing. It has to be a casing. It can't be natural because I bought also, they have like a sample bags of some of their aromatics. So I got 4 of their sample pack, and this flavor is in all 4. So they must case their tobacco in this flavor. I don't want to say the word Lakeland because everybody freaks out when you say Lakeland. It's not that, but it is a little lighter than that, and it's floral like that. And it did kind of ghost my pipe. So when I smoked that blend, in my Savinelli 673 KS, which is one of my Virginia pipes, I didn't even think anything of it. I smoked something else and I could taste it. Now, luckily, I like the taste. And it's funny because I only start to taste it when I get halfway past the bowl. So whatever I'm smoking in it, I'm getting those flavors. Then I get to the halfway point, and it's happened to me multiple times because I forget. I get halfway through, and I go, oh, what's that? That's interesting. I'm like, oh, crap, that's number 8 slice. I could still taste it. And I cleaned it. I cleaned it with Everclear. I cleaned it out. And I only smoked 1 bowl in there, and I could still, I got to be 10 bowls deep, and I could still taste it. So I had to dedicate a whole pipe.
Oil. It's got to be some kind of an oil.
I don't know what it is.
Otherwise, it's fascinating.
It's something. I just picture them spraying it on the tobacco. I don't know, but maybe it is an oil base. Who knows? Yeah. But it's definitely on there. And what I'm going to point out a video that you should check out on YouTube if you're interested in number 8 slice. Well, Eldritch Pipes did one a few years ago, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. But the channel I want you to look at, if you want to look it up, watch a video on it, because he's got, first of all, his visuals. His camera's great. The images are great, and he holds up the tobacco. You can really see it in the camera. His name is Caleb White, and Caleb White, the knife maker, and it's Caleb, Caleb. And if you just typed in Caleb White, LJ Peretti, number 8 slice, his video will come up. And he absolutely loved it. He said it was his desert island blend. And he talks about the Perettiness, or the Peretti essence, he calls it. And he thought it might be just something in the factory or on the table when they're making their tobacco. Whatever they're using must get on in all their blends. But I'm pretty sure it's a casing. There's no way this flavor can be natural. It has to be added. And it's probably like their signature on all their tobaccos. All their tobaccos have this little floral essence thing at the end, like, in the finish. And that's probably their thing. But it's great. It's like one of a kind. And I think any pipe smoker that smokes Virginias especially, I mean, their Burleys are great too. It's mostly aromatics. But add some Peretti, LJ Peretti, to your collection, especially since 1870, America. Come on, Jay. Boston. You got to support.
Yeah, I'm going to smokingpipes.com. I'm looking it up right now.
No, you got to go to ljperetti.com. It's not going to be on Smoking Pipes. ljperetti.com. That's where you get their stuff. But anyway, Jay, I'm done. You got anything else you want to add to this podcast? Thanks for stopping back. By the way, I meant to say that I have a feedback form in the notes of each show, and somebody was like, "Bring back Jay Blanchard." He's like, "I like that guy. I swear, he's interesting. Get him to co-host." Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. As soon as I hang up, I'll call my mom and thank her for saying that. That's all.
If your mom's name is John, then we got a problem. But it is 2023, so who knows?
All right, brother. Well, Happy New Year to you and yours, and thanks for including me anytime, man. Anytime. I love the show, so anytime you want.
Well, listen, I really want to start doing these more, so I'm going to start calling you and grabbing you more. And maybe we'll try to get some of these YouTube guys on. And try to get out like a couple of times a month, maybe, you think?
Yeah, sure, no problem. No problem at all.
All right, awesome.
I enjoy it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, my man, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. You take care.